Pleasure to be here. Grew up in Atlanta in the Southeast, big Liberty Bowl fan. Always made sure I watched it when it was on. 3 years ago, my wife and I, we played in an early bowl game, and so we went to a vacation in New York City for New Year's, and I told her the one game that we've got to watch is the Central Florida Georgia Liberty Bowl. So it's a pleasure and honor to be here, and we're excited to play a great opponent in Rice.
Questions?
Oh, talk about Rice. They're a great opponent. Why are they so great?
They are solid offense. A lot of older guys. They've got big physical offensive line. They're 11th in the nation in rushing. They've got running backs. They've got 4 or 5 running backs. They're interchangeable. They come and do a lot of things. The one running back sometimes plays quarterback, number 35, in their Wildcat package. And he does a nice job. He was the MVP of the Conference USA Championship game. They've got big physical receivers and athletic tight ends. The neat thing they do is they're very interchangeable with what they do, move guys around, give you different formations, and so we just got to know where everybody is. Number 15 is their big receiving threat, big talented kid. They like to get the football too, but they spread the ball around, and the running backs are really good as well. The quarterback makes great decisions, scrambles really well, has an accurate arm, and he always tries to get them in the right play. The thing that you watch about their offense, they really don't run bad plays. They're always trying to get you, to get the look that they want and then run the right call. So it's going to be a big challenge for us. I think our guys are excited to play. We've had 2 weeks full to get ready for this offense, and to be honest, we probably need it, because they're so multiple in what they do, and so it's a big challenge for us.
Are they more physical and grinded out than you normally see out of a Conference USA or a middle kind of program?
And they're older. They know what they're doing in the system. They're committed to playing physical football. Their receivers do a great job blocking. They really get after on the perimeter, and so they're just solid all the way through. And they have some explosiveness too within the wanting to run the football, but they're explosive in what they do as well.
Specifically, that running back, he had over 100 against Texas A&M. What is it about him that makes him kind of difficult?
Yeah, he's a bigger kid. He's 6'1", 220, runs behind his pads really well. Physical kid, doesn't take negative yardage plays, and but all of them, all the guys that they have that carry the ball for them, are good quality backs. So it's going to be a big challenge for us.
Let's talk about how you've seen the maturity and development of Bernard, especially the linebacker position this year.
Right. Well, last year he had such a big splash onto the scene. He walks out on the field and Bernard's like 6'5", 250, and he's a ball of energy, runs his mouth constantly. And they say, kids tell stories about what he is during the games. I hear it every day at practice. People think I'm crazy, but Bernard probably takes it to a whole nother level. But he had such a big year last year, and had over 100 tackles, and he had to play, probably 90% of the snaps in every game. And I think it's a credit too to Richie Brown, has been able to spell him a lot and had some quality downs. Bernard's, probably didn't have the numbers that he has last year, but he's every bit as impactful as a player. The neat thing he does is he takes pride in himself making the other people around him better. And that's hard to come by in a kid who's just a redshirt sophomore. But the guys feed off of his energy and his enthusiasm. And he's really intelligent, gets everybody lined up. And so I can't say enough good things about him as a player and as a person.
You came into the season, a lot of expectations, hype, juice, whatever you want to call it. How did the team live up to those expectations when the season's over?
Yeah, just every day they come out, you see us, on the sidelines during games before we get onto the field, psycho defense or, whatever, creating mayhem or turning up or juice. So you just see the guys, it's kind of, they've taken it on, themselves. They've kind of, let their personalities come out. And, you see it, you saw it in the Alabama game, you saw it in the Arkansas game, you saw it in the Ole Miss game, just the energy, the passion, and the juice that they play with. And, they're like that every day. We've had, bowl practice, 15 days to get ready for an opponent. And every day you come, I think you guys are out at a couple of practices. It's fun to be around these guys. They have so much energy. They like each other. They like playing football. And it makes it a joy to come to work every day, get to be around these guys. And they've embraced the things that, we've kind of sold them on. And they've embraced it, taking it even higher than, probably the expectations would have been.
Geoff, as your first year as a full-time coordinator,
sure.
has there been a spot in the year where you can tell if Bernard or McKinney or somebody else that you trust on defense, hey, you know what we're supposed to be in. I don't need to signal it in.
Right.
With all these tempo offenses, just go do it. Just go play.
Well, the Texas A&M game, the year before, I think Texas A&M, rushed for 300, 200 some yards on us. But when we played them this year, I'd say probably 20% of the snaps, it was on Bernard and some of the other guys just to get us in the right call. Because they were going so fast. The guys were making the checks and they knew exactly what to do. And I think we limited them to 90 or something rushing, which was a good day for us in that regard. But those guys, they understand the system. There's a lot of accountability, a lot of trust amongst the defense. They believe in each other. And if Bernard speaks or Skinner speaks or Kendrick Market or Tevez Calhoun, Danico, they listen. And the pleasure for me is the guys that I mentioned, I could probably name 4 or 5 or 6 others that have that kind of impact and have that kind of, carry themselves in a way that we can just wind up and play.
Talk about the job that PJ has done for you up front. I mean, I think he got hurt the second practice of the season and just kind of battled through that foot injury all year and really hadn't missed a beat.
Yeah, he's a tough kid. I think, when he's healthy, he's one of the best 3 techniques in the SEC. And that's saying a lot with the quality of D-line that we have in this league. But he hasn't been healthy since the second day of practice. You look at, kids like him, Nico Whitley, Caleb Ewells has been banged up all year. And the things that those guys have gone through, and then it goes back to Justin Vermillion, our training staff, they probably don't get enough credit for every week getting those guys ready to play. And, PJ, he's such a great kid, such a great motor. He wants to be out there because he loves his teammates and, wants to be out there battling with those guys. And so I can't say enough positives about him. And when he's healthy, he's something. I said Caleb Ewell saying when he's healthy, there's not a finer, duo of interior linemen in the league.
What's your first year as a defensive coordinator been?
I've loved it. I mean, I think you guys have been around me enough. I just love coming to work every day. Love getting to be around these guys, regardless of the position that I'm in or getting to call the plays or not. Still take as much pride, whatever role that I'm given. And, just these guys are just a pleasure to work with, the Deontay Skinners of the world, the Nico, the seniors. This will be my last time, getting to be involved in the game with those guys. But it's just been, it's been an honor to be able to be a part of this defense.
How do you replace a Nico back there at safety? What's kind of your plan for Tuesday?
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of guys that we've been repping, in and out at that spot. But the 7th play of the season, we had Jay Hughes go down. He was our starting strong safety. And 7th play of the season, he's done for the year. And Kendrick Market, or as we affectionately call him, Poke Dog, Poke Dog came in, and we haven't missed a beat. Not to take anything away from Jay, great player, but just he stepped up for us and played well for us all season. Actually won a couple of games for us. And just Nico's down, the next guy's going to step up for us, whoever that may be. And the guys that are in the defense and going out there every day know. What we might miss, from a Nico Whitley, his experience, being a 4-year star in the SEC, and they'll all rally around whoever's in there at whatever given time.
Tevez Calhoun had a really strong end of this season. How much momentum does he have going into the bowl game and ultimately into next season?
Yeah, I mean, you can't say enough about Tevez Calhoun. Going into the season, we lose John Banks, we lose Darius Slay. Really that's all anybody want to talk about is how do you replace those guys? And the job Jamerson Love did, the job Tevez Calhoun did, Will Redden and Justin Cox, I could go on and on about the guys that stepped up. But the 2 games, actually the 3 games at the end of the year that Tevez Calhoun had are as fine as anybody in this league. He's a big physical kid, highly intelligent, high character kid, and he's got great length, kind of like the John Banks did. But he studies the opponent as well as anybody. He got he was best friends with John Banks. He watched everything that John did, studied what John did, and kind of molded himself around that. And if you have a Thorpe Award winner that you get to model your game after, it's a compliment to him that he took advantage of that opportunity and rose to the occasion and used all that information. And you see it on the field toward the end of the season. And I think the sky's the limit. Still a young guy. And, the neat thing about him, the neat thing about Bernard, the neat thing about Kendrick Market, weren't highly recruited kids, but then you see them with the development of Coach Mullen and Coach Bayless that they have in this program and what a high level they're playing at right now in this league.
Jeff, you talked about enjoying the first year as a coordinator. What have you learned in that role?
Well, I've been a coordinator since I was 24 years old. I was just a little baby coach. I was a GF at Fordham University in the Bronx. Was offered a defensive coordinator job at 24 years old. I asked my wife, "You think I'm ready?" "Yeah, you're ready. Let's go." And so I've been doing it. And every year's a new challenge. But just being in the SEC, the quality of coaches that you go against week in and week out, the quality of athlete, and then you turn on Rice's tape. It's really no different than what I've been seeing all year long. I mean, I was in Conference USA for 2 years at UCF. I know what a big deal this game is. And, you turn on the film and you watch those guys play. I mean, they are a quality team. They've got players left and right all over the field. And so we're just, excited to play them.
You mentioned Tedesco wasn't highly recruited. What did the Mississippi State coaching staff see in him that maybe other coaching staffs didn't?
Right. Well, one of the big things was he was in camp. And, had a good camp evaluation, but I got here kind of at the end of that recruiting cycle, but just you go into his high school, and every coach, every principal, every teacher, you will not find a better person than Tedesco. Great player, great athlete, but they sold us on his character and his work ethic, and then you go back and you look at his camp numbers, you're like, if he has this character, this work ethic, and has this physical ability, the sky's the limit for what he can do. And, took a chance, and, Tevez has made us look really smart.
Do you wonder why he wasn't highly recruited after seeing all that?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I got here at the end of it. So I do distinctly remember watching the tape, though. I've been here 2 weeks, and they popped the tape on. I'm like, yeah, he's a yes. So.
Jeff, if you had to turn up or turn down the intensity, the physicality of practice, just because of the way Rice plays offense, a little bit different than a lot of the SEC tempo offense?
Yeah, absolutely. They're physical. It's hard to replicate. With a scout team, how physical and strong they are. Coach Mullen's done a good job of letting us work against the ones and twos, which normally we don't do as much, just so we can replicate how big and physical and what a power run game they have.